Joe Colemans' beautiful poem, Memories of Ballyfermot. It was summer time in '54. Well, that's what I was told. I don't remember very much. I was only 6 weeks old. We moved into our new house, with rooms 3 up, 2 down. It was Spiddle Park, number 2, and 4 miles from Dublin town. The first few years passed very quick, and I was nearly 4. Our neighbours came from Crabera and Kill Square in Inchicore. New shops were built on Claddagh Green, a total lot of 8. Ruan's, the sweet shop, the veggie, and Mario's, who always opened late. I remember the penny snow cakes, and the 2-penny chalk racing car. The yellow chicks from the ragman for some old clothes and a jar. I remember the dolly mixtures and the penny lucky lumps, the halfpenny cleaves and the Nancy balls. You were sure to come up trumps. A penny's worth of broken rock or a bag of hot fish crumbs. No matter what we got or had, we shared it with our chums. Those were the days when I was young. I'll remember them forever. But it's sad today when I look back. We've all changed just like the weather. I remember going to school and paying a penny for the drill. A penny for the black babies. I often wonder still. I remember Father Daly and dear old Canon Troy. They would put the fear of God in you when I was just a boy. I remember Ballyfermot when I was just 13. And joining Mary's Youth Club across the road on Claddagh Green. I remember all the fun we had and all the games we played. Fair play to Mary's Youth Club, it's still going strong today. I remember playing marbles and the gullies in the shore. And this is the house that Jack built. You don't see that anymore. For those of you who do not know, its proper name was Jacksers. And when we'd finished playing that game, we'd end up out in the backers. And the backers were our favourite spot. We'd play there all day long. But today you see it's all built up, and all our fields are gone. If the kids today could learn to play like us in days gone by, they would be proud to walk our streets and hold their heads up high. I remember Ballyfermot and the old games we used to play. Kick the can, spin the bottle, and knock on doors and run away. There was no such thing as skateboards when I was very small. We'd play hide and seek and blind man buff, and over the garden wall. I remember the wooden bridge where we'd sit and watch the trains. And the fields were full of flowers, and the girls making daisy chains. And the boys would all be in the swamps, and they'd be catching frogs. And the bigger lads were with their dads, and they'd be cutting logs. I remember Ballyfermot and the stories we were told, of banshees and headless horsemen in bygone days of old. I remember Lynch's Lane and Chapel Lizard down below, and a pickaroony special to the tip head we would go. We didn't have much money then. We all had empty pockets. But we got by. I'll tell you why. We all had Frawley's stockets. I remember Ballyfermot and me in my late teens. I would get a sub in Tim Young's pub and a pint in Billy Dean's. I remember Ballyfermot and my Collins old tin hall. It was over at the terminus beside the backers wall. And Spiddle Park was just a field, all covered in green grass. But today you see, believe you me, that too has come to pass. I remember Ballyfermot and the California hills. We'd go there every Sunday for all our spills and thrills. I remember Ballyfermot and I remember Parker's farm. I remember poor Ned Marlowe, sure he did no one any harm. And Downey's pub in the holy hour, you'd be locked up safe inside. And Bannon's on the 7th lock, well that was bona fide. And Nalty's with their swinging doors, there were 2 of them I think. I hear Ned went in one day on his horse to have a drink. I remember the stew house where the nuns gave out the dinner. The bigger the pot, the more you got. You were sure to be on a winner. I remember Dirty Aggies and the stuff she used to sell. Loose cigarettes and gore cake. I remember it so well. I remember John's Stonehouse and the church in Markovich Park. I remember the pumps on Blackledge Drive and the roads, it was so dark. We played conkers in the autumn and dressed up on Halloween. And so Christmas Eve at 8:30, no children would be seen. For we were all put up to bed and we'd think about our treats. And on Christmas morning, when we'd wake up, our socks were filled with sweets. I remember Ballyfermot and the days that passed us by. Do you remember Nolly on the buses? Ah, sure, he was such a nice guy. And Big Harry in the gala, he'd stand right out at the door. And Larry the waistband with his horse and cart, so you don't see them no more. Where I live now I used to play. It really was a thrill. But my fields have gone, new houses there, and they call it Clover Hill. I remember Ballyfermot and the way it used to be. We had cherry orchards, apples, and blackberries, and they were all free. It's not so long ago when I look back, when I was very small. I remember walking through the fields, and the trees were all very tall. I recall another memory of the graveyard in the lawns. We'd often sit there and reminisce, but now that too is gone. I remember Ballyfermot and our hall, the BCA. President Childers and his good wife came to visit us one day. I remember all the songs we sang and all the nursery rhymes. I do remember Ballier in the rare old times. I remember when the gasman called and we'd all run and hide, for fear he'd find out what we all knew. There was nothing inside. It was only a saving box, you see, for saving up some cash. And when he'd gone, we'd creep out slow for our bangers and our mash. I remember Ballyfermot, the neighbours really cared. And if you were down, you were never out. The neighbours always shared. They would split a loaf of bread with you and say, "You never mind." That's the way neighbours were. It was a pleasure to be kind. You see, I'm 40 years in Ballier, and I love this wonderful scheme. I'm only halfway down the road, but I'll hold on to my dream. God bless Ballyfermot and all her children here within. And try not to change any more, 'cause that would be a sin. Tell your kids the stories of the bygone days of past, and tell them all about our days, and make our memories last. I remember Ballyfermot, and I just know I always will.